Hey folks, Mr. Carter here, ready to do HomeLink 1.3. Go ahead and put your name on this if you haven't yet already, and let's begin. So, today we are rounding, and we are given a table here of the seating capacities of the WNBA home courts. So, for example, the Chicago Sky has a capacity of 17,500 people that they can fit in their stadium. And we're being asked to round all these numbers here to the nearest thousand. So I'm going to show you a couple ways to do that. And one way is to look at it with what I call the boss way of looking at it. And you want to find out what number you're rounding to the nearest. So we're rounding to the nearest thousand. So I kind of put what I call here a stop sign under the thousands place. So the stop sign would go under the 7. And then I just go ahead and rewrite all the numbers up to the stop sign. So I'm going to go ahead and rewrite the 1 in 17,000. And then I'm going to stop here at my stop sign. And I'm going to say, all right, what? And then I look at the next number over. So I look at the 5. And that's kind of our boss. It tells us what to do. So if it's 5 and above, you want to give this number a shove up. So that's a little trick to remember. So 5 and above, give it a shove. So we're going to round up that 7 to an 8 because it's a 5, because it's going to be going up to the next 1,000. So it's 17,000 is going to now become 18,000 because we're going to take that 7 and make it an 8. So it's 18. Then everything after our stop sign becomes 0. So I'm going to put my comma here. So that 5 becomes a 0. And then these are already zeros, but we're going to rewrite them in here. So it's 18,000. You can also look at this as at a number line kind of way. And you have draw 1,000 since we're dealing with 1,000. So it's 17,000 and 18,000. You're going to see where about on that number line of falls, and 17,500 kind of falls right here in the middle. So again, if it's 5 and above, we're going up to the next 1,000. Let's look at the second one. So the second one is 9,518. That's for the Connecticut Sun. So we need to round that number. So again, I'm going to use the stop sign or the boss method. So I'm going to put my stop sign right under the 9. So we've got to stop right away. We don't have another number to write before that. So we're just going to stop, and then we're going to ask ourselves, we're going to take a look at the boss here, and we're going to say, okay, what is this boss or this digit here, what is he or she telling us to do? Well, since it's a 5 and above, we're going to give it a shove. So we're going to go to the next 1,000 up. So since it's 9,000, we're going to have to go to 10,000. Okay, and everything after our stop sign becomes 0. So that 5 becomes a 0. That 1 becomes a 0, the 8 becomes a 0, so now our nearest 1,000 is 10,000. Now another way to look at it again is with the number line. So we have a number line here, and again we have 9,000 and 10,000, so we're going to figure out which 1,000 we're closest to. And since in 9,500, that's our midway point, and that's where we start going up to the next 1,000. So 9,518 kind of falls really like over here. So if I was to write 9,518, so that's really closer here to 10,000 rather than 9,000. So that's why we're giving going up to the next 1,000. All right, so I'm going to do the rest using the stop sign method and go through it that way. So again, we're going to put our stop sign under the thousands place. So that's 8. And this is our boss. Our boss tells us what to do. So when it's a 1, we're going to stay the same. So I'm going to rewrite everything up to the stop sign. So I'm going to rewrite that 1. I'm going to stop here at the 8, and I'm going to ask myself, what's the boss telling us to do? The boss is the 1. The 1's going to tell us to keep the 8 the same. So we're going to keep the 8 the same. We're going to put our comma, and we're going to write zeros for everything after the stop sign. Right, so again, I'm going to put, since we're rounding to the nearest 1,000, the stop sign goes under the thousands place. So we're going to write everything up to the stop sign. So I'm going to rewrite the 1, Then we're going to stop at the 3, and then we're going to ask, okay, what's the boss telling us to do? Well, the boss is a 1, so again, it's going to tell us to keep the 3 the same. We're going to put our comma, and then everything after the stop sign becomes 0. So that 1 becomes a 0, the 4 becomes a 0, the 1 becomes a 0. So it's 13,000. Here we are. We're going to put our stop sign under the thousands place again, which in this case is the 9. So we're going to write everything up to the stop sign. So we're going to write the 1. We're going to stop at the 9 and ask us what the boss is telling us to do. Well, the boss this time is a 3. So again, it's only 5 and above, give it a shove. So we're not going to give it a shove because we're going to, because it's a 3. So we're going to go and keep our 9 the same. And then again, everything after our stop sign becomes zeros. So that 3 becomes a 0, 5 becomes a 0, 6 becomes a 0. Okay, so I went ahead and fast forwarded here and I filled in these rest. You can check your answers, but I did that so that we can go ahead and work on number 2. So now number 2 is asking us to look at all our rounded numbers. Which team's arenas have about the same capacity? So if I'm looking at all the answers here, I'm noticing that there are 1, 2, 3, 4 stadiums that all have about 18,000. I'm going to put a little star next to those. That means that all of these stadiums have about the same capacity. So that would be the Chicago Sky, the Indiana Fever, the Phoenix Mercury, and lastly the Tulsa Shock. Because they all have about 18,000. Okay, so now we're rounding this time to the nearest 100,000. So instead of rounding to the 1,000 like we were doing here and putting our stop sign under the 1,000, this time our stop sign is going to go under the 100,000 place. So our stop sign is going to go right here on the 5. Now our 6 in the 10,000s place will be our boss. So since it's a 6, that's 5 and above, which means we're going to have to give this one a shove up. So that's going to be a 6, and then just like we did before, everything after the stop sign becomes a 0. So that 6 becomes a 0, the 3 becomes a 0, comma, so the comma there, so we're going to rewrite the comma there. This 6 becomes a 0, that 2 becomes a 0, and that 6 becomes a 0. And you know your answer is right with the amount of zeros when you're looking at it's rounding to the nearest 100,000, and you'll see that your number, your answer, is in the 100,000, so it's 600,000. So let's look at Vermont. Again, the population is 626,011. So we're putting our stop sign on the 100,000s place again, and this time our 2 is the boss. So the 2 is, since it's below 5, means that we're going to keep our 6 the same. We're not going to give it a shove. And then again, we're going to replace everything after the stop sign with zeros. And I know it's 600,000 is right because it's a number in the 100,000s place. Go ahead and do these 3 on your own. See how you do with those. And we'll touch base tomorrow when we go over the homework. All right, so for the practice at the bottom, we're just adding. This time we're doing double-digit numbers. So here we're adding 60 plus 60. So for this, we can just count by tens. So we have 60 and 60. So 6 plus 6 is 12. And we know that it's 120 because we have 2 zeros here. So we're just going to do that. So for 54 plus 59, I went ahead and did it on another paper. Stack my numbers. 54 plus 59. 9 plus 4 is 13. And we're going to carry the 1. And 5 plus 5 is 10 plus 1 is 11. So that makes it 113. All right, and go ahead and do 6 on your own. See how you do with that. And like I said, hope this was helpful. Take care.